power options let you control how your computer functions and how it turns off devices in order to save power. Power options is extremely useful in working with laptop computers, but it can also be configured for desktop computers. On a laptop, there's typically an icon in the notification area that shows you the status of the batteries. Clicking on this icon gives you additional information on how to change a power plan or work with the power options. You can also get to power options through the control panel and choosing power options. A power plan is a pre-configured setting for power and performance. Currently, this computer has 3 power plans defined. And you can see here the balance between battery life versus performance. Typically, in order to increase your battery life and allow you to continue working for longer, you may need to sacrifice some performance. Your system does this by shutting down devices that are idle, or by cutting the power to certain devices. So for instance, your computer can dynamically control the amount of power that goes to your CPU in order to conserve the energy that it uses. Or it may dynamically turn off the display or other devices that are not used for a period of time. Currently, this laptop is configured to use the Power Saver plan, which attempts to give me a greater battery life. However, to change a plan, I simply just select the plan that I want to use. I can create my own plan to customize how the computer controls power. When I create a plan, I choose a predefined power plan to use as a basis. And then I can customize certain aspects of that plan. For instance, when my computer is running off of the battery, I can choose to turn off the display more quickly than 3 minutes. And then maybe when it's plugged in, I want to keep the display on for a longer period of time. I can also change when the computer goes to sleep. For instance, on the battery, I may want it to go to sleep after 5 minutes, so that it does not run out my battery when I'm idle and not working with my computer. And then perhaps when it's plugged in, I can tell it to never go to sleep. Now you can see that I've added a new plan and that has been selected as my default. If I wanted to edit the settings, I could always change the plan settings to choose the same options that I had configured previously. There are also advanced power settings that I can modify. And I have many more options for controlling how the computer works in controlling the power to my devices. For example, I can control when the hard disk is turned off. And again, I have settings for when it is on the battery versus when it is plugged in. I can change when the wireless adapter is turned off and enters power saving mode. And I can also change what happens when I push certain buttons or close the lid on the laptop. So for instance, when I'm using this power plan, I may want a lid close to actually shut down the computer instead of put it into sleep. And maybe when it's plugged in, I can tell it that I do not want it to shut down at all. I can also choose over here what the power buttons do in general for all power plans. And because it's a laptop, I can have actions for when I press the power button, when I press the sleep button, or when I close the lid, and settings on whether it's on the battery or running when it's plugged in. I can also use this link to require a password on wake up. By default, when the computer wakes up, a password is required. To change these settings that are currently disabled, I would click this link, give it the user access control permission, and then I can change these settings here that require the additional permissions to change. So those are my power options. By choosing a power plan, I can customize how my computer enables or disables devices when they are idle. I can choose between several default plans or create my own plan. In most cases, each plan will require a trade-off between battery life and performance. I can increase my battery life by decreasing some of my performance. Or conversely, for increased performance, I might require additional power and my battery would not last as long.